Hi, this is Chuck Oliver. Welcome to this week's Hidden Wealth Review. Well, remember this. We don't pay taxes, they take taxes, by the famous comedian Chris Rock. And there's so much information to focus on about the realization that taxation is going to be a big deal, especially with the healthcare and focus of the increased taxes that the Democratic candidates are all pushing for the 2020 presidential campaign. Judge Leonard Han, who I'll quote, was a judge of the Federal Court of Appeals. And he said, in America, there's two tax systems, one for the informed and one for the uninformed, but they're both legal. In fact, he goes on to say, anyone may arrange his affairs so that his taxes shall be as low as possible. He is not bound to choose the pattern which best pays the Treasury. Folks, we see this day in and day out. If you're somebody listening between 55 and 75, please listen up. I don't think there's been a more important time to protect yourself from tax. And this will have a dramatic impact of avoiding the biggest concerns and risks that people have in outliving their money. So what's the number one thing you can do to protect your retirement, protect your cash flow, make sure you have the money to create memories, to visit your grandkids, your great-grandkids, and travel and do the things you've worked so hard to do? Learn how to disinherit the IRS, how to insulate your IRAs from the IRS, and get Uncle Sam out of your retirement. The Hill had an interesting article this week. It said, healthcare fight among 2020 Democrats shifts to taxes. Taxes are playing a leading role in healthcare's debate that's dividing the field of these Democratic presidential candidates. You see, centrist candidates are criticizing their opponents. Now think about that. They're fighting amongst each other about who's possibly going to charge too much tax, but all of them want a higher tax, right? Now think about this. Bernie Sanders says in an event hosted by the Washington Post last month that he thinks Medicare for all will cost between 30 and 40 trillion over 10 years, folks. That's a tax time bomb waiting to happen in many areas. You see, when you tax companies, right, they indirectly raise prices, and that's a hidden stealth tax on we as consumers as we spend in retirement, right? When you socialize healthcare and Medicare, right, the projected tax increases in the form of higher premiums, obviously are another hidden tax, right? And then when you tax Wall Street with this financial tax, this transaction tax, etc., already many leading economists are predicting that the market will continue to be uncertain with more people transitioning from consumption to conservation. Already yields are projected to be in the 5 to 7% range long-term for the S&P 500. Added the fact of added fees, and the net returns turn into even less of an overall net return, right? We've now hit a milestone this year exceeding the 22 trillion national deficit. In fact, we're over 22.5 trillion as of right now. I have a daily running deficit clock that's over 22.5 trillion. See, there's only three things that the government can do with taxes, right? They can raise tax, they can eliminate deductions, right? Or they can change the brackets, all of which are on the table. Steve Forbes had a great quote. He said, the tax code is a monstrosity and there's only one thing to do with it. Scrap it, kill it, drive a stake through its heart, bury it, and hope it never rises again to terrorize the American people. Let me introduce you quickly to Ed and Julie. Ed's 72, Julie's 69. And here was their focus, right? Ed shared, Chuck, I worked up to 2 years ago. I worked till I was 70 years old. I'm now living what you write about in your books and you teach. I'm now living the IRA higher tax trap, right? They're taking a larger tax bite out each year. Going forward, I can only see higher tax rates. You see, and he said to save more tax, I'm saving more tax by learning your strategies on the return of my tax than the returns I'm getting on my retirement accounts. Now think about that. He said, as a great example, you can save me over $20,000 per 100,000. That's a net 20% return of tax return. I'm not making $20,000 on my 100,000 anywhere close. You see, he said, even my neighbors, in fact, I'm doing a lot of due diligence and reconnaissance work here because even my neighbors, all of us are in the same boat. Folks, we're all in the same boat. And that boat it's going to get rockier if we don't do something about it. He said, right now, 85%, like you talk about in my Social Security's tax, my Medicare premiums have been pushed up. I'm in a higher marginal tax bracket and I'm paying more tax now than I have in my whole life. In fact, I'm seeing that my taxes have almost doubled. That's only 2 years into retirement, folks. He shared this, and I'll emphasize it to you. I'm long overdue to get something done about my taxes. Folks, remember this quote, and it's what I started with by Chris Rock, the famous comedian. You don't pay taxes, they take taxes. We can teach you how to stop the taking. Go to retirementprotected.com. That's retirementprotected.com, and let me teach you. I'll teach one strategy that allows you to insulate your retirement income from the IRS legally, ethically, and morally. Grow money without tax, use your money and spend it without tax, and not worry about this extra tax the government's now put into the Secure Act, where they're going to tax the inheritance that you leave your kids and grandkids to the max. Stop the taking, have more making. Remember, you don't pay tax, they take our tax. Learn how to stop the taking. retirementprotected.com.